Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and Happy New Year's! I want to give a huge, massive thank you to all the new subscribers and everybody who's been with me since day one. It's been a fantastic year, and here's to next year, hoping that it'll be an even better year. But it's the end of the year now, so it's time for me to give you my 10 absolute best horror movies of 2022. And let's get to the list. The Cursed is a 2021 gothic horror movie. Written and directed by Sean Ellis, it stars Boyd Holbrook, Kelly Riley, and Roxanne Duran. In 19th century France, a man arrives to a remote country village to investigate the attack of a wild animal. However, he soon discovers a much deeper, more sinister force that has the townspeople in its grip. It's crazy to me. I feel completely out on an island with this movie because I'm not seeing anyone talk about this as one of their tops of the year, but it blew me away. Is it perfect? No, I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but for a creature feature, werewolf type of movie, it does some amazing things with that. It goes into some really unique directions. It does things you just never see done in those kind of movies. It's very fresh and original in so many ways that, for me, since that's basically my favorite subgenre, or at least one of my top favorite subgenres, I was like sold from the jump. But it's also casted really, really well. The costume design, set design, the way this movie looks is just absolutely gorgeous. Everything about this movie is just at this really high level. When I thought back on all the movies this year, some of these ones on this list will be ones that were just a lot of fun for me, but a lot of these are more of just what I think is the best movie, mixed with my feelings on it. So it's kind of a mixture of the two. But with this one, this was the movie that stuck out for the entire year that I just had so much fun with, that I just left the theater absolutely ecstatic, excited, just floored by this movie, and I couldn't wait to tell everybody how great this movie was. So it really saddens me to not see as many people love this movie as I did, but for me, this is definitely in my top 10 and one that I think everybody needs to see. Smile is a 2022 psychological horror movie, written and directed by Parker Finn in his feature film debut. It stars Sosie Bacon, Jesse T. Usher, and Caitlin Stasey. The story's about a therapist who witnesses a bizarre suicide and goes through increasingly disturbing and daunting experiences, leading her to believe that what she is experiencing is This movie was one of the biggest surprises of the year for me, because I thoroughly enjoyed it, was blown away by it. But that's not what was so surprising. What was so surprising to me is just how much everybody else loved it. Because a lot of times I go into movies like this, I come out just glowing, super excited about the movie, just feel like that's a movie everybody needs to see. And then once I do my review, I say basically that, and then I'll hear everybody shitting on a movie or people completely divided on it. But this is one movie that the majority of the people I have heard really enjoyed this movie, got this movie, and embraced it. And that just through the moon, man. I was so excited about that. I was so excited to see this movie do so well in the theaters. But it really should, because the acting is fantastic in this. It looks incredible. The pacing, the jump scares are done really intelligently well, and not just there to constantly put you on the edge of your seat, but actually work with the story and what they're trying to do with the overall tension of the movie. It builds incredibly well, keeping you engaged the entire movie. And even though I won't say this is the most original movie that I've ever seen, because I do feel a lot of It Follows influences, as well as The Ring and other did. But I thought the imagery and overall execution was so impressively done that it absolutely deserved to be on this list.
No one's forcing you to stay, but I really hope you do, because today is gonna be a great day.
Speak No Evil is a 2022 psychological horror thriller. Directed by Christian Taftrop and written by Mads and Christian Taftrop, it stars Vedja Van Hewitt, Morten Burian, Sid Silsium Koch, and Carina Smulders. The film focuses on a couple who are invited by a Dutch couple to their country home for a weekend holiday. But the hosts soon begin to test their limits on their guest as the situation escalates.
Dear Louise, Bjørn, and Agnes, how are you? We were just talking the other day how nice it was spending time with you this summer. We would love to invite you to come to visit us.
This was by far the movie that got to me the most this year. I saw gory movies, I saw crazy movies this year. I saw movies all over the map in the horror genre. But this one is the one that really got under my skin and disturbed me and just stuck with me long after viewing it. And I've seen people put this on their worst of the year, which I think is, yeah. I'm not going to really comment on that. That's your opinion. But for me, I understand not everybody loving it. It is a slow burn. It does take its time to get there. It isn't a movie that's full of action. It's not that kind of movie. It's very much a disturbing movie that just builds its tension, builds its dread, puts you in this uncomfortable scenario that if you can get yourself in the right headspace where you're like this other couple, it's terrifying. It is just the most horrifying scenario of helplessness that this couple finds themselves in. And I thought the way it was directed, the way it's shot, and the acting is just absolutely amazing. This movie, as much as any movie on this list, in my opinion, deserves to be in the top 10 because the way this movie unfolds and the ending, especially the final act, is just that haunting, terrifying, just absolutely fucking savage. There is no question in my mind that this movie is one of the absolute best horror movies of this year.
I'm the only one that can see you. The only person that really knows who you are.
Resurrection is a 2022 psychological thriller. Written and directed by Andrew Siemens, it stars Rebecca Hall, Tim Roth, and Grace Kaufman. The plot follows Margaret as she tries to remain in control of her life when a controlling, abusive ex-boyfriend reappears in her vicinity.
Go away.
Are you speaking to me?
Stay away from me and my kid.
Okay, you are mistaking me for someone else.
So one of the biggest crimes that I'm seeing going on in the horror world this year is the lack of anyone talking about this movie. It absolutely blows my mind. I don't see how you could see this movie and not be talking about it. And I get it that the masses haven't seen it or heard about it. That's fine. I'm not even pointing at your average Joe, but I'm talking about the people that review movies for a living, the people that write about movies, especially all the horror writers. I'm calling you guys out, all you horror YouTubers, writers, bloggers, podcasters. Why are none of you talking about this movie? This, in my opinion, is one of the absolute best performances, hands down, of any actor in the business this year. And I'm not talking about just in horror, just everything that I've seen. Rebecca Hall deserves love. It's really a travesty that she's not getting any buzz at all about her performance in this movie because it is just absolutely amazing. It is so believable. You just feel this horrific scenario that this woman's in. And the way she pulls it off, the way she pulls you into this world, and the emotion and just so much turmoil and all these emotions in her, the way that she's able to convey those without even using words at times, just the way she looks at you. It's really a brilliant performance. And Tim Roth is also brilliant in this movie. And he's someone who has gotten love in the past, so it's surprising to me that nobody's talking about this movie on his behalf even. But either way, this is a dread-filled, tension-filled, slow burn, just artistically amazing movie. It's one of those movies that I just keep thinking about. Every time I think about putting this list together, this movie is one of the first ones I think about. It's not one that I necessarily have the most fun with. This is a disturbing movie. It's one that kind of leaves you scarred a little bit, and it has some really wild ending body horror stuff that you can't unsee. If I was making a list of the most underrated, little talked about hidden gem of the year, this would definitely be my number one. But either way, it is definitely in my top 10 of the year.
This is what you're paying for.
Get out of my way.
It's all part of the menu. It's okay.
No, we're gonna die tonight.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
The Menu is a 2022 dark comedy horror movie, directed by Mark Mylod and written by Seth Reese and Will Tracy. It stars Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Nicholas Hoult. The film focuses on a group of diners at an exclusive restaurant who discover that the celebrity chef intends to kill them before the night is out.
We'll endeavor to make your evening as pleasant as possible.
Welcome to Hawthorne.
So after seeing this movie, I was thoroughly impressed. I loved this movie, and it was no matter what in consideration for my top 10 of the year. But I heard the podcast, the Dead Meat podcast, and they did an absolutely deep dive into this movie and into the behind the scenes, into all that went into making the food, to the chef that was hired and their vision, and just all these little nuances and creative elements that went into making and putting together this beautiful movie, as well as all the meaning behind things. There's a lot more depth to this movie, many more layers than I was able to retain and understand in my limited scope while seeing it. And so hearing their podcast and hearing them really dig into all that just made me have a whole new level of appreciation for this. And like I said, no matter what, it was going to be on my list, but just hearing that information, it just made it a no-brainer that it had to be here. Because even with all those intriguing layers, this movie never forgot to be fun and entertaining. The cast is absolutely incredible in this. Ralph Fiennes, Anya Taylor-Joy, both of them are fantastic, but just even the side cast, everyone involved in this, I thought did a really, really great job. You could just tell that this is a passion project by so many people involved. And for that, and also to be a lot of fun for the viewer, to be this like piece of artwork and a passion project, and something that you as the observer can be entertained by and have fun with. That's what all filmmakers should really strive to achieve. So because of all of that, and the fact that I just had a great time with it, this movie is absolutely in my top 10.
Fuck this shit.
Fresh is a 2022 dark comedy horror thriller, directed by Mimi Cave in her directorial debut, with a screenplay by Lauren Kahn. It stars Daisy Edgar-Jones and Sebastian Stan. The story is about a young woman who starts dating a charming man, only to discover his horrifying secrets, leading her into a fight for her life.
What's going on?
I'm gonna tell you, but you're gonna freak out.
God, this movie was so much fun. I love the color, the style, the acting, the way it's written, the pacing, the overall idea and concept is unique and original. Just everything about this movie was an absolute blast. It's just put together so stylish. It just oozes fun. It's one of those weird situations where I never ever would have thought that cannibalism could be made to look stylish and cool. But at the same time, it's so gross, so gory, so savage and uncomfortable. There's scenes that make you just nauseous and other scenes that make you just laugh out loud. But it makes me so bummed that I wasn't able to see this in theater. I can only imagine how much buzz and how much fun this movie would have had if I had seen it on the big screen. As well as I think you'd hear a lot more people talking about it because it was so fresh and unique in so many ways. And I have heard some buzz, but not nearly enough about this movie. So hopefully over time, this movie will get a bit of a cult following and people will start to take notice of it. This movie has all the things I love about the genre of horror, so it absolutely had to be on this list. You Won't Be Alone is a 2022 internationally produced folk horror movie. Written and directed by Goran Slobesky, it stars Sarah Klomoski, Anna Maria Marinka, and Numi Rapace. In 19th century Macedonia, a young girl is kidnapped and then transformed into a witch by an ancient spirit. Curious about life as a human, she uses her powers to understand what it means to be human. This is another one that is just, it blows me away how few people have talked about it. I do understand though, more so in this situation because it is a foreign movie. It's not in English, and a lot of those movies do fly under the radar. On top of that, it has been streaming for months. It came out very limitedly in theaters. The only reason I was able to see it in a theater is I went to a local art house and saw it. It also is streaming on Peacock, but that's one of the more obscure streaming services, so I get it. But this movie is amazing, and people that really know horror and the films and really dig deep into it should know about this one, because it is just such a beautifully done movie. It isn't a deep, hardcore horror movie though. It is kind of somewhere between horror and a drama, but there's a lot of dread, a lot of uncomfortable elements about this movie, as well as some pretty uncomfortable gore. It is very much a slow burn, and you're gonna have to read subtitles, so there is some work involved. But it tells this beautifully tragic story, but a very human story, and it's done in a really poetic but very disturbing at times way. It is absolutely masterfully put together. The wardrobe, just the way everything is done, very much looks like a bygone era. It takes place probably around the early, late 1800s, I think, somewhere around that time period. It's just an absolutely gorgeously shot movie. The landscape, the acting, everything about it is fantastic. This is a movie that's not going to be for everyone, but if you're someone that enjoys those art house kind of movies and you have yet to see this, you definitely need to see it. Terrifier II is a 2022 slasher horror movie, written, directed, edited, and produced by Damien Leone. It stars David Howard Thornton, Lauren Lavera, Samantha Scafidi, and Elliot Fulham. It is a sequel to the 2016 film Terrifier and is the third feature-length film to feature Art the Clown. The story follows Art's resurrection and his pursuit of Sienna Shaw and her younger brother on Halloween night.
What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed. They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here? I wouldn't worry about it.
So this has to be the most fun I have had in any movie this entire year. Especially the second time I saw it. And that's weird, because the first time it was like I was just kind of taking it all in. But the second time I saw it, I found myself laughing out loud and just being tickled to death at just how much gore, how much over the top this movie was. And the fact that I was seeing this in a theater just blew my mind. It blew my mind and still does what these guys were able to accomplish. It's so impressive for the tiny amount of money they had, dealing with COVID, shutting down production right when they were almost done. They were basically finishing it up. All of a sudden, everything had to get shut down because of COVID, and yet they were still able to pull this off. All the cards stacked against them, and yet they pulled off this movie that I really enjoyed the first. It did have its problems, but I really enjoyed the first, and yet this is 10 times better than that one. It's more fun, better directed, edited, produced, the costume designs, the gore, the special effects. Oh my God, the special effects are amazing in this. This really brings back those 1980s level practical effects just at their absolute best, and shows what, if you have enough passion and are willing to work hard and learn some skills and be the best at something, what you can accomplish with such little amount of resources. I love this movie so much. It was almost my number one, but we had some really amazing movies this year, but it was so damn close. This movie is an absolute treasure that will have a diehard cult following forever. So this is my personal surprise of the year, because I never thought in a million years I would say this, but Terrifier 2 is my number 3 pick for best horror movie of the year.
It can soon become a pleasurable experience. This is perfectly natural.
Barbarian is a 2022 horror thriller. Written and directed by Zach Cregger, the film stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long. The plot follows a woman who finds out that the Airbnb she had booked has been double booked with a man, while not knowing of all the dark secrets hidden within the dwelling.
This is 476 Barbary, right?
Yeah, I'm renting this place.
No, I booked it a month ago.
Are you sure you have the right place?
Yeah. What am I supposed to do?
Why don't you come inside and we'll call these idiots.
This has got to be right up there with Terrifier as far as the most fun I have had in a theater. This movie was an absolute blast. And I'm still going to be careful, even though I'm sure most of you have seen this, I'm still going to be careful to not give away any big spoilers when I talk about it. But this movie was so surprising on so many levels. The way the tonal shifts happen, it catches you off guard countless times. It did it with just overall pacing and style of the movie. It didn't have to throw a bunch of jump scares at you to get you off guard. It didn't have to throw constant scary imagery to catch you off guard. It just did it in the most unique, weird ways. And that is what made this movie shine. On top of that, it has fantastic performances by the whole cast. All of them, especially Georgina Campbell, give hell of a performances in it. On top of that, it's so dark and twisted and mysterious and just creepy as all hell. It's a real fun horror movie. It's got all of those things that are just a blast about horror movies. But just the overall way this movie feels is what really makes it shine. It feels so unique. Just a real breath of fresh air to the genre. There was just so many movies this year that were original IPs, movies that were brand new, started this whole new thing. And I love that because I'm sure there'll be sequels to pretty much all of these movies that came out, but that's nice. We'll have some new, things instead of just another Halloween, another Friday the 13th. We have some new franchises that I think are going to come out from movies that came out this year. And that says something about the level of quality of movies we got this year. But Barbarian was one of the absolute biggest surprises of the year, and another one that I was just so over the moon happy to see do well in theaters. It is streaming over on HBO, so if you're one of those people that have yet to see it, definitely get over there and have a look, because I don't think you'll be disappointed, because it is an absolute blast. So it absolutely earned the number 2 spot on my list.
But truth is, I'm not really a good person.
One of the boys found this inside.
What do you think is on it?
I see one goddamn fucked up horror picture.
X and Pearl are both tied as my number 1 pick. They're both 2022 slasher horror movies. Written, directed, produced, and edited by Ty West. They star Mia Goth, and X also stars Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, and Scott Mescudi. The plot of X follows a cast and crew who gather to create a classy porno on an elderly couple's rural Texas property, but find themselves threatened by an unlikely killer. And Pearl serves as an origin story for Pearl, the villain from X.
I mean, the biggest star the world has ever known, so that I make it far, far away from this place.
Well, caring for your family during these times is admirable. But you only get one take at this life.
If only they would just die.
So I thought about separating these movies and not making them both my number 1. But I couldn't, because they're two halves of the same whole. Because X tells this story, this Texas Chainsaw Massacre-esque real hardcore slasher horror movie, right? And Pearl sets that up. It tells you, it gives you all of what you need to make X an even better movie, and vice versa. Because if you haven't seen X, when you see Pearl, it on its own just isn't enough. It doesn't give you enough to really want to care about this character of Pearl. But after you've seen X, you really appreciate her struggle and you care what's going to happen to her. And so you stay for the long haul. You want to see this whole movie play out. You want to see her whole story on what brought her to become this savage killer. So as much as I did enjoy both these movies tremendously on their own, even on their own, they probably both would be in my top 10. Together, they just become this next level movie. And so that's why, without a doubt, they're my number one. Everything about them, the way they're shot. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Ty West at this point. I've enjoyed just about every single thing he's done. Just the way he creates visuals and the style and pacing that he puts together, where it's a slow burn, but yet it doesn't put you to sleep. It keeps you constantly engaged, and there's this real mysterious quality about the way he puts movies together. He's also an absolute master at making movies feel like they're from a totally different time. And both these movies very much completely feel like they're from these eras. They very much feel down to the smallest detail that they are created in those timelines. On top of all of that, the fact that this team of people created two movies that both came out in the same year and were both extremely successful in the horror world in the same year is just mind-blowing. I cannot wait to see Maxine next year and see this trilogy all the way put together. I truly think that Ty West is one of the absolute rising stars of the horror world. And these movies are timeless. I honestly believe 20 years from now, we will still talk about these two as some of the great horror movies. Just movies that definitely followed in the footsteps of the greats from the past, and also just brought enough of their own unique it factor that they on their own have merit. So without a doubt in my mind, I put X/Pearl as my number one horror movie of 2022. I know I cheated a little, but I hope that made sense on why I put them together as my number one. You can't take them apart. They're very much connected to this same story. But that's gonna do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching this. I wanna give a huge, massive thank you to the Ghost Pirate Army, because you guys, your support means so much to me. And if you would like to find out how you can become a part of the Ghost Pirate Army, there's a link down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. If you like this, click right here for another 10 horror movie recommendations. And I'll see you guys next time.